Imagine waking up to a world where the sky is filled with thick ash, the sun is barely visible, and temperatures have suddenly dropped. This might sound like a scene from an apocalyptic movie, but it's what scientists believe would happen if a supervolcano erupted. Unlike regular volcanic eruptions, a supervolcano eruption has the potential to change our world drastically, affecting global weather, food supplies, and life as we know it. And here's the startling part: even if you live thousands of miles away, you'd likely feel its effects. The concern among scientists isn't just the explosive force of these volcanoes, it's how little time we might have to prepare. Take, for example, a volcanic zone near Naples, Italy. And no, this isn't about Mount Vesuvius, the infamous volcano that buried Pompeii. There's another, potentially more dangerous volcano lurking nearby. It doesn't have the towering peak that typically marks a volcano, making it less obvious and more deceiving. Known as Campi Flegrei, this massive volcanic complex is among the largest in Europe, located under the town of Pozzuoli. Campi Flegrei has a vast caldera spanning about 8 miles, filled with signs of volcanic activity that are hard to ignore. Campi Flegrei erupted around 39,000 years ago in an explosion that spread volcanic ash across the entire Mediterranean region, even causing temperatures to drop by over 15 degrees Fahrenheit across Eastern Europe. This event marked the largest eruption Europe had seen in the last 200,000 years. Since then, Campi Flegrei has erupted sporadically, with its last eruption occurring in 1538. Today, it's surrounded by a surreal landscape of small craters, hot springs, and bubbling mud pools, all serving as a reminder of the power simmering beneath the surface. Since the early 2000s, the ground in Campi Flegrei's caldera has been slowly but steadily rising by about 1 to 1.5 inches per year, an indication of pressure building below. The area has also experienced hundreds of small earthquakes, with a 4.4 magnitude tremor recorded in May 2024, the largest in the past 40 years. It's unsettling for the residents nearby, some of whom have had to evacuate their homes temporarily. Italian authorities are now conducting evacuation drills, preparing people for the worst-case scenario. But how close are we to a super eruption? The truth is, scientists simply don't know. As formidable as Campi Flegrei may be, it's relatively small compared to the true giants, like Yellowstone in the United States. Yellowstone National Park sits atop one of the world's most famous supervolcanoes. For a volcano to earn the super title, it must have the capability to produce eruptions of cataclysmic scale, releasing massive amounts of magma, ash, and volcanic gases into the atmosphere. Yellowstone easily meets these criteria. Though the ground around the park has shown signs of movement, with parts of it rising and falling periodically, Yellowstone hasn't erupted in over 640,000 years. However, if it were to erupt, it could release a force equivalent to 10 major nuclear power plants operating at full capacity. Beneath Yellowstone lies a massive magma chamber, a region filled with molten rock that causes the ground above to swell when magma accumulates and cools when it subsides. Between 2004 and 2009, the ground at Yellowstone rose by nearly 10 inches. But in 2010, the swelling paused, and the ground began to lower. Scientists are closely monitoring the situation, though they remain unsure if or when another eruption might occur. Further west in California lies Long Valley, another large volcanic area that's been active since 1980. This supervolcano, though less famous than Yellowstone, has a violent history. Before its largest eruption about 760,000 years ago, there was evidence that the buildup took less than a year, a stark reminder of how quickly these volcanic systems can change. If Long Valley erupted, it could have devastating impacts, blanketing large parts of the US in ash and disrupting global climate. The world has witnessed other supervolcano eruptions in the distant past, each leaving a mark on the planet. Around 74,000 years ago, the Toba supervolcano in Sumatra erupted in what is considered the largest volcanic event in 28 million years. The explosion was so massive that volcanic debris covered vast areas of Indonesia, India, and the Indian Ocean, forming a blanket almost 6 inches thick. To put this into perspective, the amount of rock ejected was equivalent to stacking nearly 3 million Empire State Buildings. Toba's eruption left a caldera so large that it can still be seen from space. The ash and gases released by Toba blocked sunlight, triggering a volcanic winter that lasted between 6 and 10 years. Some scientists suggest this eruption had a profound effect on early humans. Known as the Toba catastrophe theory, it posits that the extreme climate conditions following the eruption caused a population bottleneck, reducing the number of humans to just a few thousand survivors, mostly in Africa. Although not all researchers agree with this theory, it's a compelling story of how Earth's volatile geology could have shaped human evolution. Another historical eruption that altered the course of history was Mount Tambora in Indonesia. When Tambora erupted in 1815, the world experienced what came to be known as the year without a summer. In 1816, the eruption's effects led to unseasonably cold weather across much of the northern hemisphere, with frost and snow recorded during the summer months in Europe and North America. Crops failed, food prices soared, and widespread famine took hold, claiming around 880,000 lives. Some historians even believe that this climate disaster indirectly led to the invention of the bicycle in 1817 as an alternative to horses, which had become too expensive to feed due to the high cost of oats. Then there's the infamous Krakatoa eruption of 1883, which had a global impact partly because it occurred in an era when news could be spread widely via telegram and early photography. The eruption produced the loudest sound ever recorded, audible over 10% of the Earth's surface. Krakatoa's eruption generated tsunamis with waves nearly half as tall as the Statue of Liberty, devastating nearby regions and killing tens of thousands. The catastrophic impacts of these historical eruptions give us a glimpse into the potential consequences of a supervolcano eruption today. If we had only 12 months to prepare, it would be nearly impossible to stockpile enough food, resources, and infrastructure to survive the aftermath. Supervolcano eruptions are incredibly rare, with the last one occurring around 26,500 years ago in New Zealand. Scientists estimate that such events happen roughly once every 100,000 years. But the Earth's geological timeline doesn't follow a strict schedule. There are periods of frequent eruptions followed by longer, quieter intervals. And since 2 super eruptions have occurred in the past 100,000 years, some experts believe it's only a matter of time before another one occurs. Potential hotspots go beyond the usual suspects like Yellowstone and Long Valley. For example, Laguna del Maule in Chile has shown signs of activity in recent years, with the ground in the area rising by nearly a foot every year. While there isn't yet enough magma to trigger a super eruption, these signs remind us that there are hidden dangers in less obvious places. Similarly, Uchuruncu in Bolivia has seen ground uplift since the 1960s, signaling possible volcanic activity, although the last eruption here was over 250,000 years ago. The probability of a supervolcano erupting in our lifetime is low, about 1 in 1,400. However, like lottery odds, even small probabilities can manifest unexpectedly. If or when it does happen, our preparedness could make the difference between survival and catastrophe. Thank you for joining Discovery 2.0 on this journey into the depths of Earth's most powerful forces. If you found this exploration intriguing, don't forget to like and share this video, and stay tuned for more discoveries.